Welcome to the Saturday Night Live Afterparty. This week, we'll be discussing Season 46, Episode 14 of SNL with host and musical guest Nick Jonas. I'm Katherine Coleman, and I am joined this week by Jason Wildhagen and Steve Finn. You can follow Jason on Instagram at Wildhagen Karate. And if you'd like to connect with us, you can do so at snlpodcast.com. All right, here we go. Okay, so John is still laying low after his ill-advised trip to Cancun. So Jason, thanks so much for jumping in to fill in.
Oh, my pleasure. I've got big shoes to fill.
Definitely. But yeah, we're going to discuss this very, very musical Nick Jonas outing. I know Steve's excited. He's a big Joe Bro. Is that what their fans are called? Do they have a nickname?
I don't know.
It's the Joe Bros now. So Steve's a Joe Bro.
We all got bonus for Jonas.
There we go. All right. Well, but aside from that, we got a little breaking news last night, which is that SNL will be back March 27th with host Maya Rudolph and musical guest Jack Harlow. I love Maya Rudolph, so I'm pretty thrilled. Jason, you think that sounds like a good lineup to you?
Yeah, it's going to be awesome to see Maya Rudolph host again. She's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Maya Rudolph, she's been such an asset for the show, especially this season. It's great to have her. It was kind of expected. We usually see a hosting stint from any of the staple outside players that they kind of have come in as a pitch hitter. So she fits the bill for that. As for this Jack fella, what is it?
Jack Harlow.
Yeah, see, that's a pretty generic name. Like, he sounds like a country singer, but like I could show up to listen to him at SNL. He ends up being gangster rap. Like, that name could go anywhere. So
I did Google him, so I know the answer, but I'm not going to tell you.
Oh dear. I don't know who he is either. So
do you imagine a cowboy hat, Jason?
Yeah, it's in the range of possibilities. I'll say that. Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to spoil it for either of you, but I also had no clue who he was. I forgot his name 3 times while trying to type that sentence in the show notes. And I guess we'll all see what that's about. All right, well, let's talk about this Nick Jonas episode. For the cold open, Dr. Fauci hosts So You Think You Can Get the Vaccine. Jason, how'd you feel about the cold open?
I really liked it. I mean, first of all, So You Think You Can Get the Vaccine is probably going to be a show within the next month. It's probably going to be one of the ways that they keep rolling out these vaccines. But yeah, this sketch really worked for me as a cold open. Yeah, I really liked having the famous governors, Newsom, Cuomo, and Whitmer. The sketch moved at a good pace. It never felt sluggish. There were a lot of great jokes, and I'm a big fan of Kate McKinnon's Fauci.
Yeah, give me Kate McKinnon doing any impression, and I'm happy.
Totally.
I will disagree here, though. I thought it took way too long to get into the actual game show. So we had each governor got introduced, they had a line, and then they had a question and a follow-up, and it was a really extended thing where I thought we really just needed probably that one-liner from them and then get into the game show. Because to me, I thought it was a really astute observation that like these vaccine rollouts are like, so some of them are ambiguous, it's not clear, it's hard to get the information. So I thought when they were getting into that, like when Melissa came on as the pregnant lady, and they're like, we have no idea. Can you get it? Nobody knows. It was really hitting its stride. And I was like, oh, if we got to this faster, then we could have had more of these beats. And I thought that would have been more fun, and or it wouldn't have been 9 minutes long. And I'm always a fan of things being under 6 minutes for the cold open. So I thought it was good. I thought it was a really cool premise. I thought it was fun. I just wish they'd got to the game show a little quicker and had more room to play around with that stuff. Steve, what'd you think?
thought it was great. It was, you know, another cart in the train of diverse SNL cold opens
Mhm.
this season. Really great to see. They're showing that you could still get political, of course. This is all very much uh, cold open political type stuff, but we can make it fresh and fun. And yeah, what better way than taking a reality show that we all know and love and applying it to COVID? I think it works pretty well. And this had
Yeah.
a pretty good message too. It's the people who can get it may be at danger of it being prohibitively technologically inclined. So
Yeah, I thought that capper was especially good because it's so accurate. You have to go to 30 different websites and refresh it 10 times and then bring a QR code. And like, there's all this stuff that's really, really difficult for elderly people. So I thought that was kind of the best, most heightened thing to end on for sure.
Yeah, I thought that all of the game show contestants were really, really great. All of those characters
mhm.
really worked for me. I take your point, Catherine, that they could have got into the game quicker. It is 9 minutes long, but it didn't feel 9 minutes long to me. Like to me,
Yeah.
it didn't drag like I might expect a sketch that long to do.
Yeah, that's fair. And like Steve said, at least it's a creative new take.
Mhm.
I won't complain too much for sure. All right, let's keep going. Nick Jonas performs a Les Mis inspired toast to our year in quarantine with a cameo from his brother Kevin. Steve, how'd you like the monologue?
I thought it was a lot of fun, and it was a pretty good indicator of the type of show we were going to get. This was a a musical grandstand for sure from
Yeah.
start to finish. I think we got about 5 songs. Uh, so what I liked about the monologue was, you know, uh, seeing Nick kind of killing it in that role. I thought he was pretty competent. Even
Yeah.
joking about how like he's never really done anything like this before, and it's even been so long since he's been on SNL, and now he's back to do double duties. If he was nervous about it, I think he hit it well because he came out and remembered his training and knocked it out of the park for sure. I really
Yeah.
want to get one of those jackets with the two fanny packs that hang off the front. That's I guess that's the new style, but hell, that's a practical look.
So
Lots of
you
pocket space.
I found the jacket distracting. I'm glad you liked it though.
Well, yeah, I mean, I like carrying stuff. I like having places to hold things that I can't
Yeah.
forget places. Yeah,
It'd be good for fishing.
there you
Maybe
go. Love
maybe
fishing.
that's Nick Jonas's fishing jacket.
Maybe it is, and who am I to judge?
Yeah, it is the weekend, so
But no, jacket aside, yeah, it was a perfectly fine monologue. I thought it had some high moments, but overall, I didn't find it to be anything to write home about.
Mhm.
Not a monologue for the ages, but perfectly fine for what it needed to be. The song is of course a good way to use Nick Jonas because he's a singer. In case you didn't know, so that was fun. Good to see Kevin. I'm wondering where Joe was, but whatever. So yeah, Jason, what'd you think?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Catherine, that it was a fine monologue. I don't know that much about Nick Jonas. Nick Jonas isn't someone whose career I've followed very closely, so I wasn't quite sure what to expect as a host for Saturday Night Live. But you could tell that he's a guy who has a lot of presence and charisma, and I think that he handled himself, very well during the
Mhm.
monologue. I liked the song, loved the song.
the lyrics got some good laughs for me, for sure.
SNL has an affinity for Les Mis, that's for sure. So keep hitting that well. I'm okay with it. All right, well, for our first sketch, Come enjoy a mirror workout with Nathan, Krista, and Shannon Delgado. Jason, how'd you like the mirror sketch?
Well, first of all, like it included my favorite moment. Not to get ahead of ourselves, but yeah, I thought that it was a very good sketch. But when Kate comes on after Nick Jonas and Heidi Gardner come out as two very kind of normal trainers, and to have Kate come out and say,
"My name is Shannon Delgado. I am trapped inside of the mirror."
That was perfect for me. I really appreciated that. I laughed pretty hard at that moment. After that, I felt like it didn't heighten, as much or in the same directions that maybe I would have liked, but I thought it was very good.
Yeah, the premise of this is incredibly clear, right? Like the game is super obvious, very easy to immediately pick up what it's going to be, how it's going to repeat. Like very clear, repeatable game. And it's funny, like I've seen the ads for those mirror things and thinking, yeah, what if someone was trapped in it? Like that's funny. I thought it heightened decently well. It didn't get to crazy surreal places. But I thought ultimately her tricking Mikey into switching places was a really good place to end to.
Yeah.
So I had a good time with this. I thought this was really fun and really like technically well written in the sense of, yeah, super clear game and everything, all that stuff. So I liked it, and I thought Chris Redd was the perfect voice of reason for this too.
Definitely. This had a heavy dose of all the ingredients of a signature Mikey Streeter sketch. You had the interesting revolving door narrative structure. You have the specifically named mystery character. And just a lot of suggested lore that, is kind of underneath the sketch. And you get glimpses at it, but you don't get the whole story. And it's, confusing. It's hilarious. This is up there with the David S. Pumpkins and Kevin Roberts of Mikey Streeter sketches. So I'm loving this. Kate was amazing. Just holding the bags with the toilet papers. You could really get a sense of someone that was just plucked out of life and put into a mirror. And yeah, this poor sweet woman, she just wants to get back to her husband. You feel for her. I love these sketches. Mikey and Streeter are, there's an argument to be made. You can apply these guys to auteur theory for, just how much of a stamp they put on a sketch. Like you watch it and you say, that's Mikey and Streeter. That's what they do.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's keep going.
I'm gonna watch a murder show, murder show. I'm gonna watch a murder show. Netflix, Showtime, HBO, and Daylight. Murder show.
Great music video, right? Jason, what'd you think?
I really liked Murder Show. Murder Show was it was a catchy song also. But the game of the sketch I thought was perfect. Like that's what you do when you're watching these true crime documentaries. Just like anything that you have to do with your hands and your screens, while these grisly true crime documentaries are just playing in the background. I love that contrast. And I loved the song, loved the sketch.
Yeah, I talked a little last week about how SNL music videos are just one of my favorite things, and this hit all the things that I loved about it. The video was super well produced, very a lot of different aesthetic choices going on. The song is well produced, super catchy, and it's funny. I thought this was really good. It was cool to see sort of the new generation of the girl group songs. Of course, we also had Kate in there, but it was mainly Chloe, Melissa, and Heidi, and Ego. Yeah. I thought this was really fun. My only problem with it is I thought the second verse didn't really heighten up until it got to like the podcast beat. Like I thought they could have done a little more there. Like maybe if the second verse started with like, and now I'm listening to a podcast, and then it could go into like, and now I've become an internet sleuth and I've solved this mystery. And like, I thought there could have been a little bit more there. But ultimately, for the capper for Nick Jonas to come in and be like, okay, but what about cult shows, was a really fun move.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. It's a pretty minor note. So, Steve, what'd you think?
Yeah, I loved it. Such a fun time. Great catchy song. And I understand the appeal. It's something I've actively fought against getting hooked onto. You know, these shows. I watched Making a Murderer, and you know, my eyes were glued to the screen the whole time. And I forced myself not to watch any other kind of, you know, crime documentary on Netflix because, yeah, it just sucked my life away until it was over. I was so glad to get to the last episode because I had my life back. And yeah, these things are enthralling, and it's definitely worth SNL airtime to make a song about. I think Jason had it right. You know, the juxtaposing of the obsession with murder and violence. And, you know, on paper, you would think someone with such an unhealthy obsession with this kind of subject matter, you know, would, you know, live in a dungeon with a, you know, with a hole in the wall. These are people with, you know, loved ones and otherwise healthy lives. And I think that's just a great way to show, like, yeah, we all have like a little dark side that we let out in certain outlets.
Yeah, and it's what people watch when they're folding their laundry and when they're paying their taxes and all of that stuff that they mentioned in the sketch. You know.
All right, well, let's keep going. Prince Charming is looking for the girl who fits in the glass shoe. The very suspiciously tiny glass shoe. Steve, what'd you think about the Cinderella?
Well, yeah, it definitely piqued my interest. You wonder where they're going to go with that kind of reveal. And yeah, I thought we'd get some kind of like some twist ending where Cinderella just has impossibly tiny feet, like Kristen Wiig's hands in those sketches. What's that?
Yep.
What's that character called?
I think she's just called like Tiny Hands or some baby hands.
Tiny Hands. I thought she had a
I
name.
don't know.
But yeah, I thought we were just going with like weird body horror type stuff. But
Same.
yeah, no, it turned out to be bestiality, which is just as entertaining. This was swallowable because of 80.
Mm-hmm.
She was so hammy and just that shucks quality to her character kind of softened the blow of what you were actually witnessing here and what was being talked about. They're just really good at that sometimes because yeah, it's going to get laughs if you do it right, but yeah, it's just if you falter that tone a little bit, something of this nature could, yeah, the air could be blown out of it pretty quickly. So
yeah, it could
I
definitely
want
get awkward.
yeah. So I want to give 80 props for keeping it light, and you know that's a huge burden.
Yeah, this is definitely, I think, probably the most interesting premise of the night. The most out there idea of what if he banged a rat. I think that that's fun. I think there was a lot of setup to it that wasn't necessary to the game. It was clear like the writer had a lot of thoughts on Cinderella, and that's fun, but it didn't necessarily serve the game. Then I started thinking about, well, are we thinking, is the game that he had sex with the mouse, or is that a heightening move of the tiny shoe being the game? And so I think maybe there was just a slight lack of clarity on exactly what they wanted the sketch to be about. And yeah, I think it's really fun once they kind of get into it. But there was just so much up front where you weren't sure where it was going to go. That by the time they got to that, there wasn't that much room to really play with it.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
Yeah, I mean, before they got to it, I was really happy with Cecily and Melissa doing their ugly stepsister stuff. They were getting a lot of gold out of that there alone. So I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, just a lot of things going on, I think, and maybe just needed a little bit more polish on what they wanted the focus of it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, what did you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that it was kind of an uneven sketch. I'll second what Steve said about 80 as the mouse. I feel like it was hard for me to imagine any other cast member more, well suited for that character than 80 Bryant. I thought she was really great. That turn, I'll say this about that sketch, it was definitely an unexpected direction
Yes.
once the mouse showed up. um I also thought that Keenan was kind of below the radar really good in this sketch as the prince's right hand man,
Mhm.
who had his own opinions on feet. And
He's a footman in more ways than one.
exactly.
Yeah, so little uneven, but overall, certainly interesting. Up next, Mickey's dreams come true at his bachelor party when he gets hard with his friends. And I'm the only girl on this cast, so I will say this is something I have often wondered about. I think that it's a real weird thing y'all do. So let's see, Jason, what did you think of it?
I'm thrilled to be the first one to weigh in on this one.
That was by design, my child.
Yeah, this sketch did not click with me really.
Okay.
I didn't really love the song. Yeah, the premise, it is a weird thing that guys do, on bachelor parties, to invite strippers and, get turned on with your dude friends. It's pretty weird. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, the sketch itself just didn't have enough laughs for me. Just didn't click for me.
Fair enough. Steve, what did you think?
Well, I don't know if I want to go now. I was enjoying it. It caught my ear and held on. This morning I was making eggs singing boner, boner, boner. What I loved about it was the different archetypes that were showcased, the different members of a bachelor party.
Mm-hmm.
The groomsmen, one would be the brother-in-law, one would be from the old friend from away. They had them all. And what I loved about it is that, they all had their own reason for needing this boner in their lives. And it was a beautiful thing. Like just the absurdity that, like, the idea that a boner is all you need, like that's apparently, like, that's the holy grail to all men, is to just get a boner with other men around. That was explored very well, and I loved it.
Yeah, this one was definitely pretty childish, right? But I loved that about it. I'll fall on Steve's side here and say this was a huge win for me. Like I said, it's something that I've thought about before, and I just, as soon as it was revealed, I think the line was,
I've waited for this moment all of my life, to get hard with my friends before I marry my wife.
That is a good line. I'll give you that.
I was just like, oh my God, this is fantastic. And then it goes straight into the brother-in-law line, which I thought was really, really great, because that is such an awkward dynamic. Like, I've been at a bachelor party for, like, my sister-in-law, and it's like, there's always, like, weird sex games, and I'm like, I don't want to hear about her sex life with my brother. Like, why is this a dynamic that we have? So that really clicked with me, and I thought this was so fun. I thought the song was catchy. The production on it with all of the different lighting effects, I thought was really cool. And yeah, I was having a good time. My only note would be, once again, and this is a theme this episode, a whole lot of setup that I didn't think was totally necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this was a big win for me.
So I'll say something positive about the sketch since I
You
was
don't have to.
dumping on it before. Going back to what Steve said about the bachelor party archetypes, I did laugh out loud at the specificity of the married guy who says, "I needed this." It's like, oh yeah, every bachelor party I've ever been to has had that guy's been there. Like, okay, I get it. Yeah, you needed this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think Alex had the best singing voice of the group.
Yeah,
I
that
was
was
kind
a
of surprised. Yeah. That was very operatic and very nice timbre to his voice.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about Nick Jonas performing Spaceman and This Is Heaven. And Steve, I'll let you go first because I know you love the Nick Jonas.
Oh yeah. I love me some Nick. I guess this was okay. It's not as good as the new Nick brothers, the new Jonas Brothers stuff we got maybe a year or two ago.
Mhm.
This was okay. I found myself thinking this is a lot like Harry Styles music. In the stylings of Harry Styles, you have Nick Jonas nowadays. And I think this is kind of on purpose. Because like
Okay.
there's they're both meant to appeal to the ladies because of the handsomeness and the yeah.
Mhm.
But like Harry Styles is kind of like more of a sprightly guy, and they got Nick Jonas like beefed up, like they really got him, packing on the arm meat and all that. So yeah, I feel like they marketed him as a beefier Harry Styles to just get that side of the demographic. Is like, Harry Styles, he's a little too skinny for me. Play the same kind of music, but with a different body type to snatch up the rest.
Yeah, I didn't think it was. I wasn't getting Harry Styles vibes from the music, other than it's pop music. But I didn't see a whole lot of crossover there. I don't listen to a ton of either one of them though, so what do I know? Um, I liked the production on the first performance with the cool laser cone of shame thing.
Mhm.
I thought that was really cool. But both of the songs I thought were good background music. Like I think they'd be good like while you're cleaning the house or something to turn on, but they're not something that I would necessarily seek out. I didn't think either of them was particularly catchy or, incredible lyricism or anything. Those are kind of the things that I really look for in music. So yeah, it wasn't my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, what did you think?
Yeah, it's a little outside my strike zone. Not the type of stuff that I typically listen to, but I didn't think that it was bad or anything.
Right.
I kind of thought, if you're the type of person who is into Nick Jonas or that type of music, this is probably clicking for you.
Mhm.
And in general, I thought that I agree that the production during the first number was really good. So yeah, it was fine, but it's not something that I'm going to seek out to watch again.
Fair enough. Let's talk about Weekend Update. For their lead in, Jost and Che discussed the new stimulus bill, CPAC, and vaccines. Jason, how'd you feel about this update outing?
I thought Update was good this week. I thought that the jokes were generally pretty solid. There were a couple that completely whiffed that Jost acknowledged. But the ones that clicked, I thought were really good. The joke about for a preview of Trump's CPAC speech, just give your grandpa cocaine.
Mhm.
That was really good. And I really like the desk pieces.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty good outing. I think the last couple have been more mediocre, whereas this one felt a little stronger, had a little bit more of a rhythm to it. Yeah, I thought they were getting some good jokes in. They were doing that thing I love where there's a joke in the setup of the joke. Like Ted Cruz, who's always the kill in F Mary Kill.
Yeah.
That was great. And yeah, I thought they were really on their rhythm this week with some good stuff. Coming back from a few weeks that I didn't love. The United Airlines joke was my other favorite. So, Steve, was this a win for you?
Oh yeah, this was great. Everyone was just so sassy and ready to sling mud. I mean, yeah, like I'm not feeling that terrible about having a bunch of politicians that are against a minimum wage hike, to be the butt of the jokes. Like somehow that's not, making me feel bad for them. But we had everything. Like this was the Stefan Club of weekend updates. We had breastfeeding M&Ms.
That was great.
We had double-ended driftwood. We had Aunt Jemima mobiles. We really had a tour of some wild times. So this was a lot of fun, and props to Che for that double tap against American Airlines. Is it American Airlines? What was the airline that?
United.
United, the other one.
There's only two. All right, well, let's talk about the features. Up first is LeVar Ball, here to announce Big Baller's new shoes, the Carmelos. Never lost. This is one of my favorite characters. Jason, what did you think of this one?
Love LeVar Ball. Love LeVar in real life and Keenan's version especially, though. I got excited when I saw Keenan roll out as LeVar. And I thought that it was really, really funny. Him talking about how his son LaMelo is going to unite the Carolinas to form Carolossus, undefeated against Godzilla.
Never lost to the Zilla.
I was laughing very hard at that. And then, of course, the Caramellos, the top edible athletic shoe with a caramel filling in the middle. I loved it. It was fantastic. Yeah, Keenan doing LeVar Ball can do no wrong for me.
Yeah, LeVar Ball is one of my favorite update features. I say never lost 1,000 times a day. It's like probably my most used GIF. And then I remember the one where the shoes had a chicken rotisserie machine in it, is what he said. I just love these. As soon as Che did the setup of, he said something about the NBA, and I was like, yes,
it's coming.
Because I just love these. I think they're so funny, and they all follow the exact same pattern. Like, he's gonna have a new shoe to introduce, like blah blah blah. But it's always great. It never gets old for me. So yeah, this was a huge win.
Yeah, he's definitely got longevity as a character,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm right there with you, Catherine. I love every time he comes on. It's just a great dynamic. He comes out and he's the only one in the room who takes LeVar Ball seriously. And it's great because like you totally sense that he thinks that he's fooling everyone. Because, if you just over articulate things, people believe them. That seems to be his MO. Yeah, but it's like many other Keenan characters. It's a bunch of recognizable beats with new lines put over them.
Mm-hmm.
But we just love seeing it. It's great every time. And it's just Keaton. Keaton has been doing this so long. He just opens his mouth and professional comedy gold comes out. So
yeah, he can sell it.
He can sell it, and I am sold. Take my money now and keep giving me this stuff because it's great.
Yeah. I will say another great thing about this character is I think the first time I saw it, I did not know who LeVar Ball was, and it was still funny. Like it was enough of a character for me to clock, like, okay, I kind of see the type that they're making fun of, and it'd still be good. So that's pretty strong writing. All right, up next is Marjorie Taylor Greene and the demon inside of her. which I thought was a really great way to explain Marjorie Taylor Greene, and maybe we should check that out. Yeah, Jason, how did you feel about this feature?
It was a really funny character. With people like this, I sometimes get a little anxious about whether or not the character is elevating the person,
Mm-hmm.
But it was just too funny for me to really care about that.
Yeah.
Instantly when she came out and you could see her t-shirt that read "Trust the Science" and science was misspelled.
Mhm.
Science.
The whole vibe played to Cecily Strong's strengths really, really well. The whole bit about Mr. Potato Head and how Mr. Potato Head shouldn't be allowed to marry another Mr. Potato Head
Mhm.
cracked me up. Yeah, I thought this was a really great desk piece.
Yeah, I too kind of have thought about, we don't want to legitimize this person, right? But you have to think she's just enough of a joke that nothing could.
Mhm.
And never have I seen a person in life that so strongly resembled a Cecily Strong character and then
Oh
allowed
yeah.
Cecily to play that character.
Yeah.
It's almost too good to be true. Uh, and this was just perfect. The gun joke is fantastic, and I thought it was a really good observation to say, okay, yes, this is a woman who will say something like "trust the science" about a specific issue, but let's talk about all the things she's going to ignore, and then also her total lack of understanding of the science she's saying to trust. Let's really hone in on that. What does she think science is? And to play with that, I thought was a really fun way to use her in this piece. Steve, what'd you think?
I thought this was pretty flawless from Cecily. I gotta say, I love her when she does this character. It's perfect for her, like you said. And God, just the amount of material they whiz through with these
Hmm.
and the breakneck speed of some of the delivery of jokes. Like there's hardly a moment of dead air in these back and forths with her and Colin.
Mhm.
And God, like if you were to run that fast, the faster you go, the more severe it would be if you were to trip, right? And
Hmm.
Cecily, being the pro that she is, just gets through this thing, uh, like it's nothing. She makes it look so easy, but to land all of the ridiculous things that this woman says, and all of the golden lines that are written for such a short amount of time, she hits every one, and it's
Yeah.
perfect. You
Yeah.
know,
Cecily is just crazily talented. All right. Let's get into the back half of the show. A group of teens try to sort out who has to sit with the stuffed guy from Seoul on the Viking Voyager. Steve, what'd you think of this one?
it's one of those sketches that you enjoy, but then you wonder why it was put on air. Like we laughed, but where is the mass appeal here? Like, are we really to believe that Disney is on board with this material? Uh, the whole premise of this was, I mean, it was half the battle. What was really beautiful about this was that halfway through, I start realizing what Kyle's name supposedly is in this sketch. Like you hear the first, you think you're hearing dog or cup or something, uh,
Hmm.
but then the writing intentionally starts to make it more rapid and often, and you're like, they're calling them cuck, like just over and over, and that seems to be like the sketch that they just like I don't even know. Like it suggests that they're doing this intentionally, and they're like secretly out to get this guy and just subtly torture him. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, it was a very bizarre sketch, and I'm probably overthinking it, but it was like it had a really dark streak that was like very eerie to me. But I loved it. That's like my bag.
Right. I too am overthinking it in a different way though. And I'm perfectly well aware of that. Like I think that this is It's really fun. I thought what one about it was they captured the dynamic of like a high school field trip. Like I'm thinking I think they said they were juniors. To me, it was a little bit more like they were maybe freshmen, a little younger. And they're like, yeah, I don't want to ride. Yeah, if I can ride with her like that, I don't care. That's fine. Just that kind of coy thing where they're a little shy about they like the person, but they want her to sit in her lap. Like I thought they captured that really well. Um, but yeah, like the premise of it wasn't exceptionally strong. And like it didn't heighten to any super crazy places. But at the same time, like I enjoyed it. I just don't know what like the game is like fairly clear. There like has the beats are there, but like nothing really fantastic, but like it's still enjoyable. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of scratching my head on it too, but I liked it. And apparently it's a call out to a place in Kansas City that Heidi loved. So that's cool. Jason,
That
what did you
makes
think?
sense.
Yeah, it takes place at Worlds of Fun, a real life amusement park that I too have been to.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I got excited to see that. I was like,
Who
oh,
sat in your lap on the Viking Voyager?
a giant stuffy. But yeah, this sketch, there were things about it that made me laugh. Watching Kyle with the giant doll, of the guy from Soul was just funny in general. And when he got in the cart for the ride, that was funny, and I laughed at that. But the overall premise of it, I just couldn't. It wasn't pulling me in, and yeah, I noticed that they were calling him Cuck too, also about like halfway through, and it kind of felt like, oh, what's going? Is this kid getting bullied in a way?
Yeah.
It was weird, but I wasn't in love with it though.
Yeah. I think maybe ultimately I think it might just not be our sense of humor most of all. Like because there's nothing really wrong with it. I think like I know Steve, you're definitely a more surrealist guy. Jason, I know you like a little bit more crazy things as well. So yeah, maybe it just wasn't for us, but it was enjoyable. All right, well, up next, a new episode of the Dionne Warwick Talk Show. Steve, what one about this one?
Ego for sure. Ego always wins. And I just love her Dionne Warwick. This is such a hilarious sketch. Of course, you give this woman a talk show, someone who's from a more traditional time, a real legit, just straight performer. You show them some of today's acts, and yeah, it's going to be very, very jarring. And that's just where you come up with some great material is thinking like what this woman would ask these people. Like you just put yourself in that situation, you organically get some great lines and banter. I really just love that. The whole just putting today's culture through the grinder. It's really really fun.
Yeah, the first time we saw the Dionne Warwick Talk Show, I overthought it a whole lot because I didn't know that I was like, is this a real talk show that I missed? And so I was a little bit less warm on it then. Whereas now I knew what the game was going in. I knew like this is a lady who has nothing to lose and she's just going to ask these people whatever the heck she wants to ask them. And I think that that's really fun to sort of get these things like, so you can bring someone like The Weeknd on who's like kind of an eccentric guy and she can just be like, so what's the deal with not feeling your face? I think that that's really fun and I think that's clever and a cool thing to do. My favorite part though was the bird screaming in the background through like an entire beat of the sketch before it came on. I love the animal mishaps that happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was enjoyable.
Yeah, I love Ego's Dionne Warwick. It's fantastic. I'm super glad that this is, has become a recurring sketch. I love the non sequiturs and the confused questions. I love her weird beef with Wendy Williams. All of that. I think that, Catherine, I talked to you and John about this sketch after the Timothy
Oh.
Chalamet episode. So
Okay, yeah.
I remember kind of talking about this before. And I think that then one of our criticisms was that they didn't do enough with the impressions of the other celebrities. And now
Mhm.
I just see it as an opportunity for, Ego rather than, the other characters. And looking at it like that makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
Be like, okay, this is going to be Ego as Dionne Warwick, just, doing her thing. And it's really, really funny.
Yeah. Seeing it a second time definitely allowed me to reframe it and understand what it was going to be better and enjoy it more.
Andrew showed a
Mhm.
lot of bravery with the bird.
He did. I thought he handled, especially with his first year, he handled that going wrong really well.
Well, yeah, and it was such a great little mini story within it. Like you could see that he had training. Like he was clearly told if the bird comes off this arm, you put up the other arm for him to
Mhm.
crawl over. So he does that, but then the bird just hangs out back
Just
here and never comes over. So he's just left holding his arm up there.
Yeah, that's the fun of SNL being a live show, right? We get these little mishaps and fun
Yeah.
things going on.
That if you don't do stuff like that, then there's no point in it being live.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, well, the 10-1, after a year of lockdown, these people no longer know how to interact with each other. Jason, did this one win?
This was a big win for me. This is like everything that I want in a 10-1. It's silly, it has a game, but the characters are just, like making no sense. It's joke after joke after joke. I love the the game of or the premise of it's post COVID. How are we going to interact normally, if at all, with strangers at a bar when this is all over? And yeah, it was just really fun. I thought that Kate was perfect in it. I thought that Nick Jonas was really good in it. Throughout the episode, I kind of felt like he was doing a very serviceable job as host and in the sketches. But this was the one sketch that I thought he was best in as well.
I agree. This was one where his performance stood out.
Yeah.
In a few other sketches, he didn't have big parts. Like the murder show one, he was in and out and he had 30 seconds, in that one. And some of the other ones were, smaller parts. And this one, he was leading it, and I thought he did a really good job with it. He played into the goofiness, and of course, putting Kate opposite him is great because that's her strong suit is just being awkward and weird, right? And so this is great. What I loved about it is how well it just subverted my expectation on everything they said. Especially the can I get a bowl of milk, and you think it's for the cat and then she drinks it. Like just really great little things. Like they're not huge moves, but they're just enough to clock that, like, oh, that's not what I thought you were gonna say. And just keep doing that. And to do it for 3 minutes is really fun. This goofy stuff. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Steve, what'd you think?
Yeah, it was really cringy, hilarious stuff that really makes me not want to go back to the way things are. I think it's just been too long at this point, and we have to just keep doing this.
Fair.
I wonder how I do this. The last time I spoke to anybody was a week ago when we recorded the last one of these. This is this is the only time I get to speak to anything that's not a cat.
No, that explains a lot.
So I get this. And if I have to go out and start socializing, it's not going to be pretty for anyone. But I think y'all said it already. This was probably Nick's best comedic outing for the night. This is where he got to do some hilarious stuff. Andrew is the piano guy. Excuse me, Guy Piano was really
I
great.
loved that joke, by the way.
That didn't need to be there, but I'm so glad it was. Like that sketch was just twice as good just for having that moment in. But yeah, this had so much stuff. The Take Me Out to the Ball Game song was a riot. But yeah, fun sketch. Really, really weird, absurd stuff.
Yeah, like little kind of throwaway jokes that were just like littered throughout this sketch.
Mhm.
Like they all made me laugh. I loved Love Hat. I loved when Kate said, I've been hurt before. I walked into a sliding glass door earlier. I laughed out loud at that. Slow dancing to Take Me Out to the Ball Game, of course, was fantastic.
Yeah, the Take Me Out to the Ball Game was a great detail of like these two people can't interact, but also the piano guy doesn't know what to play. Like everything about it was just
Yeah.
a little wonky, you know.
Right.
All right, well that's the end of our rundown. Let's talk about moment of the night. Jason, I think you already alluded to it, but what was your moment of the night?
Moment of the night was my name is Shannon Delgado and I'm trapped in this mirror. Without a doubt, for me, that was it. That's the line that I laughed the hardest at, and yeah, loved it.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a good reveal because it's so clear as to telling you exactly what you're about to get, and it was such a fun premise to have. My moment is the turn where we realize what the boner song's going to be about. It's that line that I already mentioned. I waited my whole life to get hard with my friends before marrying my wife. So funny, so catchy. It had everything. Steve, what's your moment?
Moment is going to be Guy Piano. The best, most unexpected joke of the night. Definitely the stupidest joke. And I just love that they went for it. It was such a beautiful little piece of frill on a really otherwise weird sketch. So, it fit there. And it was, just got me in the gut. And I love those moments where, you turn on SNL and you expect to hear jokes, but when they just snap one in right in the corner there, that's beautiful. And that's where I do my true laughing. So this is the moment for me.
Yep. I love the little, throwaway jokes and sketches. All right. Best sketch. Jason, what is it?
I thought it was Murder Show. I thought it was the Murder Show song. Yeah, I thought that was the most consistent. I thought that it had the kind of highest density of jokes that worked well combined with really great production. You already talked about how good the SNL music videos are, and I thought that this was a perfect example of it.
I'm gonna go with the other music video, the boner song. That one just really, really got me. I loved it so much. Steve, what's your best sketch?
It is undoubtedly the mirror workout sketch for sure. That was such a great time. And I love the sketches that, give you a couple more questions to ask along with the answers. There's definitely a whole lore here. We'll probably never see a mirror workout 2 or anything, but there was just like so much eerie setup here. I love that it was only used just to create lore, and it almost seems like it goes to waste, but that extra effort really pays off, I think, especially when it's comedy.
Very good. An interesting thing about the mirror one, I really liked that, and I don't always love the first sketch after the monologue because I find that those sketches are geared towards a much more general audience. I think like they're usually the ones my mom really likes, like something with like a Snapchat filter. Uh, so those aren't always huge wins for me, but I thought this one was really, really strong. So I support you.
It's that kind of show. Thanks.
Jason, who's your MVP?
It's Kate. It's Kate McKinnon. I thought she was great at the start in the cold open as Fauci. Obviously in the post-COVID dating 10-1, she was amazing. She had my moment of the night as Shannon Delgado trapped in the mirror. And even in the Cinderella sketch as the evil stepmother, she had a couple of lines. It wasn't like a terribly important part, but she brought her Kate McKinnon-ness to that. This was a show that wasn't really dominated by any particular cast member, and so I thought that Kate's the one who I would point to as the MVP.
Well, I'm not going to argue with you over that because I love Kate, but I think I'm going to give it to Heidi, actually. She was all over the place in this one, and I thought she was really strong in everything she was in. And yeah, she had a big part in writing The World's a Fun One, which wasn't necessarily the biggest win, but I think that's that's great. I think Heidi is so funny and just seems so lovable. It's great to see her have an episode where she's really shining in almost everything. Yeah, that's my MVP. Steve, who's yours?
I think Jason's got it with Kate there.
What a twist where I'm the only one who doesn't go with Kate.
Yeah. I hate to do it to you, but I think that's the call to make on this one. She bookended the show, leading the cold open and the 10-1. And she was peppered throughout and other great stuff too. She probably made me laugh the most with all of her crazy lines in the 10-1. And, her Fauci is it's not the best character she's ever done, but it is a lot of fun. So there's a lot to enjoy, and a lot of it came from Kate. So I think that's the right call.
Can I change my vote? I want to change mine now.
Sure, John's not here.
I'm the boss today. That's true.
He'd be the one to get upset about it.
Because Kate did have a really strong episode. The cold open, Shannon Delgado, murder songs, Cinderella. Yeah, she was all over the place.
She was amazing.
She's Kate.
So you joining us?
Okay, fine. I'll give it to Kate. I'll make it unanimous.
All right.
You didn't have to push me too far.
Twist my rubber arm, right?
On a scale of classic, great, decent, weak, or train wreck, Jason, how would you rate this episode?
Oof. This was a hard one to rate because I felt like I liked almost all of the sketches. There were a couple that didn't quite click for me. And, I'm not the target audience for Nick Jonas's music appearance, but this show had some really, really fantastic moments. And so while I'm tempted to give it a great, I think I'm going to have to give it like a decent, maybe a decent plus if I could.
I'll allow it because John's not.
John loves those. Yeah.
I was a little on the fence between decent and great too. I think everything here had something I liked about it. Obviously some more than others. The front half I thought was a little stronger than the back half. But I think, pretty decent cold open, good weekend update, really fun music videos that I think will, stand the test of time. And so I think I'm going to go great. I think it was overall a strong episode, a couple things that dragged a little bit, but nothing that fell flat. So it's a great for me. Steve, what do you think?
Yes, great for sure. I'm going with a great 0.2, we'll say. Because that is that's how I feel about even my least favorite sketch of this episode had stuff for me to enjoy. There's no moment where I was absolutely waiting for a sketch to end. Yeah, like we were talking about, we might have seen the work that had to be put in, and maybe the Cinderella sketch, for example. But around the rough edges is a lot of amazing material. And, there was some great stuff from the cast, the host, as musical guest. That was also great. I just thought this was a fun, experimental episode with a lot of weirdness to it. And I like the risks that they took. So I think it deserves a great.
Yeah. We get the very easy job of critiquing a finished product. So, I think we all do a good job of acknowledging that everything worked. Everything was good. Just the little things, you always realize after the fact some little things you can change. So,
Yeah.
I thought this was a strong episode, and I'm glad y'all liked it. And Jason, I'm so glad you were here to join us today. Thanks so much for coming
Likewise.
on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
And for our audience, I know you have a show with Boogie Manja coming up this month, at the end of this month, right?
Yeah. So my Boogie Manja team, Give the Baby a Knife, has a show Friday, March 26th at 9 p.m. on Twitch TV/Boogie Manja. So check us out. We've been having a really fun season, and I think we've got a good show coming up next at the end of the month.
Awesome.
Yeah, they've all been super fun. I'm excited to see what y'all do the rest of the season too. So, Steve, and we have a month off from the podcast. You got anything going on?
Well, I'm busy with school works and the like. I'll be staying still for the time being.
All right. Well, I just shot a sketch last week with Charlotte, who did the podcast a couple weeks ago. And this sketch, it's going to be coming out probably Friday. So I'll try to remember to comment that under this video and, follow me on all my socials. It'll be there. This one's about setting up a budget for all of the bullshit in your life.
Nice.
And I think it's a good one. So yeah, stay tuned, everybody. And that's a wrap. Thanks to Jason Wildhagen and Steve Finn. And thanks as well to our most generous patrons, Sam Bowers, Neil Weinstein, Justin Gardner, Carissa Eubank, Grace Kogan, and Brian Clark. If you're enjoying our show, please subscribe on YouTube or wherever better podcasts can be found. Your subscription helps us grow, and your support is greatly appreciated. We'll be back soon with a fun vintage review of SNL's Season 7 Bill Murray hosted episode with musical guest The Spinners. But until then, this has been episode number 130 of the Saturday Night Live Afterparty podcast. I'm Catherine Coleman. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.